Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Friday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, let me lay this all out for you. I came across two stories on TMZ. Disturbing, I found them very disturbing. As usual, I'm going to put the links right down in the video description so you guys could watch the video and you could read the stories yourselves and tell me what you think. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this video this morning about one of the stories, and I'm going to do the other video this afternoon about the other story. The other story that I'm going to talk about this afternoon is a real boxing or real fighting or whatever they call it, like in Las Vegas. And it's two men fighting three women. All right. And I mean really fighting, kicking, punching, all out, going at it. And being raised by women as the man of the family, I find it very disturbing. I'm going to talk about that video this afternoon, so we're just going to leave that there for now. But I'll put the link down below so you could see what I'm going to talk about this afternoon. This morning, this video, I came across a story, and this one's even more disturbing. It's something that happened in Baltimore last week. It was caught on camera, and it's horrifying. But once in a while, there's things that happen in my life, and I want to talk about them in these videos. But I have to kind of wait for the context. I have to kind of wait for an opening to talk about it. And this is the opening that I want. It's something that happened to me in Walmart. And it reminds me of what happened in Baltimore. Okay, let me tell you the TMZ story. I'm going to tell you about that first, what happened in Baltimore. It's a street cam video. And it shows a Amazon delivery van, a blue Amazon delivery van. And all you hear throughout this whole video is a woman screaming. Now, this is what happened. This is what the story says. That the woman was crossing the street, and apparently it was a green light for the traffic that was going across. So she was crossing against the green light. But, that's understandable. It happens. And the Amazon van hit her. It didn't just hit her, it ran over her. And it didn't just run over her with the front tires, it ran over her it stopped on top of her, and then it ran over her with the back tires. And then it gets even worse. I got to warn you, it's seriously, I'm not just saying this, it's a horrifying video to watch. And the worst part is her constant screams echoing down the blocks in the streets. You could hear her screaming, you could hear it echoing throughout the city. And the guy gets out of the van, the driver, or the person. Let me say the person, because I can't tell anything about the driver. It's from a distance, and the woman is laying in the street just screaming in pain. I could swear she says, "I can't feel my legs." I could swear that I could swear I heard that, but I'm not sure. He walks over to her, and this is from a distance, and he's walking around her, looking at her. And then he walks away. He gets back in his Amazon van and he drives away, leaving her in the street, screaming after he ran her over. I have a hard time believing that this is happening in our country, in America. And it's supposedly in the greatest country in the world, supposedly. I'm not believing that anymore. And not just because of this story. I'm just not believing. I'm starting to think of that as we're being fed propaganda. That we live in the greatest country in the world, and it ain't the greatest country in the world. I'll just leave that there for now. Now, before I get too much into that story, well, let me finish with it. It says that Amazon spoke about this, and they said, well, don't worry, the driver's been suspended. He's not working for I don't know. It doesn't say that he's been arrested or anything like that. It's horrifying. It's horrifying. And I started thinking about, I try to use empathy. What was the driver thinking? More than likely, I think he was probably aggravated. This is what I'm guessing. He was aggravated because she was crossing against, the light was green for him. And he just didn't have the freaking patience to let this person just finish walking. How hard is it to let somebody, cross the street take 5 or 10 seconds out of your time, your busy day, even though he's working, but he's getting paid by the hour. That's another thing. When I used to drive a truck, I used to drive a delivery truck, hardwood flooring. I used to drive a truck for Hoboken Wood Floors. I used to drive a truck for a news company, newspapers, adult books, and all stuff like that. And whenever I got in traffic on the highway on 95, 95 runs through Connecticut, and it's one of the worst, some of the worst traffic in the country. And I would tell myself, Daryl, you're getting paid. Don't forget, you're getting paid by the hour. Just relax. That's what I used to tell myself. All right. So like I said, I'm trying to put myself in their mind frame. It's not unusual for a pedestrian to just cross the street, even if I don't do it personally, because I know how drivers are. I'm scared of drivers, so I don't walk. If it's a green light for the cars, I don't cross the street. I'm even hesitant to cross the street when it's a red light and it's telling me to walk. Like when I ride my bike, I will never go in front of a car. I go around the back of the car, always. No matter if they tell me to cross in front, they go, oh, go ahead, cross in front of me. And I'm like, no, man, no. And I always go around the back of the car. And some drivers have actually gotten insulted because they're like, why, you don't trust me or stuff. I've had drivers get mad at me. Okay, so I'm trying to understand, why this Amazon driver did this. Is he just insane? Does he have no compassion, no empathy, no feeling for other human beings? And to just leave her in the street screaming. Okay, I was at Walmart 2 days ago, early. It was about 9, 10 in the morning. A lot of people in there, packed. And I always go to the self-checkout. And I move quickly. I go in, get what I'm going to get. I go to the self-checkout. I got everything down. I got my money. I got my credit cards, whatever I'm going to use. I get things done quick. I bag my stuff and I get out. I don't lollygag, as they say. And there's a line. There's already a lot of people. I had to wait to get to one of the 4 registers. And then so I go to a register. I only have 4 things. I have a 12-pack of Pepsi and I think some Twizzlers and some Munchies. Like 4 things. I scan it, and there's people waiting behind me now to get to one of the 4 registers, right? And I scan it, and it rings it up. I pay for it, and right then, as I get the receipt, I still have to bag it because it's over in the bagging area. So I have to bag it myself. And as I'm turning to bag it, I see the person in line already come up behind me, like she's rushing me. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it was a black woman. And when I say this, people ask me why. Well, why did you have to say it was a black person? Why did you have to say it was a woman? Why? This is why I say it. Because it affected the way that I reacted. And I'll get more into that in a second. I would have reacted differently if it was a white man. I would have reacted with much more anger if it was a man or if it was a white person. Seriously. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's the truth. I'm being honest with you. Okay, so like I said, I start, I see her come up behind me, and I'm like, well, now I'm not gonna slow down, but I'm not gonna rush either. This person's, I'm like, God help her if she hits me with her carriage. She's right like a foot away from me, and because she can't get to the scanner because I'm standing there bagging my stuff, she picks up the hand scanner. And she actually starts scanning her stuff while I'm still standing in front of the register. And now I finished bagging my 4 things. Like I said, quick. I'm doing this quick still. And I'm like, oh my God, she's actually already started ringing her stuff up while I'm still in front of the register. And I turn around and look at her because now I feel my adrenaline start to rush. There's no need to do this. I'm not slow or anything. And she's ignoring me. She must see me because I'm only 2 feet away from her, and I'm just standing there staring, and I'm just my anger is boiling. You couldn't just give me 2 seconds to finish bagging my stuff and go. And she's ignoring me. She must see me because I'm 6'4", and I'm only a foot or 2 away from her, and I'm just standing there staring at her. And she's on her phone, blah 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 blah, and scanning her stuff with the hand scanner while I'm still standing in front of the machine now. So, okay, I let it go, Daryl. Now, this is what I mean. If this was like a guy like me, a Caucasian guy, I would consider it an insult, a personal insult, and an alpha thing or something. And almost definitely, I would have said, what's your effing problem? And I don't think I would have struck her. I wouldn't have got physical, but I know I would have said something, and I would have started to move up on him. Because it was a woman. I've said this before in videos, even in traffic incidents, when I see it's a woman driver, I don't get angry. Somebody could be beeping and flipping me off. And if it's a woman, I just let it go. You know, I tend not to get as angry with women. And being a black person, you know, I walked away, and I'm hesitant to get angry with a black person because I don't want people to think that it's a racial thing, you know, and it's not a racial thing at all. Okay, so I walk away from the register, and now I'm still steaming, and I stop about 10 feet away as I'm heading towards the door, and I turn back around, and I'm like, I can't let this go. And I turn around, and I just stand there staring, and I see, and there's a lot of other people at the other, they see me staring at her, and they look at me, and they just put their eyes down, you know, because they see that I'm furious, and they know why I'm furious. And it's a mixture of black people and white, mostly black people, and mostly other women. So in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, are they gonna take her side? Are they gonna take my side? And they just kind of all put their eyes down and ignored me, as did the woman at the register. She'd never looked at me once. So I stood there for like about 20 seconds, and I'm just steaming, you know, and I see the cashier look at me, and she won't make eye contact either. You know, everybody's wondering what I'm going to do at this point. And I just ended up walking away. And all the way home, I'm furious. I'm just furious about this. This woman could not have the patience, you know, like I said, I don't move slow, you know, and it bothered me for the rest of the day. I was freaking angry, you know, and all I could think in my head, I was like, well, I hope somewhere down the line, if she does this to somebody else, I hope karma catches up with her, you know, because I won't confront women. I have a hard time confronting women. And honestly, being of another race, being a black person, I don't want it to look like it's a racial thing either. You know, here's this big white guy yelling at a black woman. You know, no matter what if I'm in the right or the wrong, it's not going to look good. People are going to take their video cameras out and start videotaping it. You know, I know that, you know, so I didn't say anything. So I wonder about this van driver. Was he like this woman? You know, that just could not have the patience. You know, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the sex or the race or anything of the Baltimore van driver. But he just, you know, as soon as that light turned green, he thought, you know, screw anybody in the road, I'm going. And then he actually just leaves her laying in the road. Let me know what you think about my story and about this story. I'll be back later with this boxing video about 2 men boxing 3 fans only models, beating the tar out of them. This I find appalling too. I've never struck a woman in my life, ever. And even for sport or for whatever, this is just disgusting. I'll put the link down below, and I'll do the video about that this afternoon. Have a good Friday.